The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan, are you ready to design that game that you've had in your head that you've been dreaming of, but you don't want to learn how to program or manage a business or anything of any sort of skill nature? Look no further.
Shall we play a game?
Welcome to another episode of Nude Clan. I am Joe.
I am Caleb Craig.
I'm Caleb, and...
Oh, he's not here today. Cameron is not able to make it today. He's dealing with stuff. Anyway, we are going to be reviewing the game Dev Tycoon.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, a nice little indie game on Steam that we were talking about on the piracy episode, which I believe is episode 3. Of our Nude Clan podcast, we were talking about on the piracy episode that they had like a certain way of dealing with piracy, and that was the first time I'd heard about the game. And I decided, hey, I got $10 left on my Steam wallet. I feel like playing a simulation game, and I was like,
wasn't it leftover residual funds from the $20 Steam gift card you had to buy to get
the $10 Fable? Yes.
Oh, that's cool. It came out of another game then. It was birthed by Fable.
Yeah, well, it was more birthed by our conversation. I would have probably picked up some other simulation game. I felt like playing a simulation game one night, and I was like, I've already played all these other simulation games. These other simulation games that I'm looking at have more to do with war or like...
Yeah, and it's like, how do you replace
They're not very well reviewed or something like that. And so I was like, I shall try Game Dev Tycoon.
I think you'd really like Total War, though. I think you'd really get
Total War. I might try that someday in the future.
I've got Empire, but there's others out there. So yeah, I had never heard of it until this, or maybe Caleb a few months before that. You might have mentioned it. I remember you talking about a game that you had that
I've probably mentioned it before.
How long have you had it?
I've had it for probably a year and a half.
Okay, then yeah, I heard you talking about it because you're like, dude, I just made this in my game. I made Final Fantasy. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Final Fantasy always does well.
Yeah, and no surprise there. But yeah, so I mean, I had heard of it, but I don't know. The idea of it was cool. I was just so involved with my Final Fantasy show that I was like, I don't have time to play it. So yeah.
Speaking of playing, what has everyone been playing? Caleb?
I've been playing Pokemon Yellow as it came out recently, and I have been playing Broforce, which came out for the PlayStation Plus.
How is it on the PlayStation versus the PC?
I played both of them with the controller, so there's like virtually no difference.
Oh, okay. So there was no reason to buy it again?
It was free. Yeah, with PlayStation Plus.
Oh, okay.
Well, included in the price of the yearly subscription, I guess.
Yeah. It's really awesome. They've since the last time that I played it, they've done some updates, and I mean the part now where you fight aliens from the movie Alien, the xenomorphs. It's great.
Nice.
And then I have been playing Far Cry Primal.
What the fuck?
Is the game we're supposed to be playing, but
why are you playing it?
So I can platinum it.
You don't deserve.
Is it good?
It is good.
Okay. Then we'll look forward to a positive review from you in the future then.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, so I have been playing, I just finished up last night, Final Fantasy IV, The After Years, for Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast.
Oh, man, fucking finally.
Yeah, and basically my week's been dominated by that. Last Sunday, I was supposed to be writing a paper, and instead I played like 2.5 hours of Civ 5. And I love it. So I played a bunch of that. I got some nice, really rare achievements in that game, which if you just randomly play it and win, you'll get really rare achievements. There's so many fucking people that play it. It's like, ooh, 0.002% of people have this very specific achievement. So I feel really hog statusy, and then I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's pretty specific, so whatever. So yeah, I played some of that, and I think that's all I've touched this week. I've been just pounding out that fucking After Years on my lunch break at work, just every waking second on my way to my car from work. Got enough time for a boss. What about you, Joe?
I have the only game I have played this week in the need to beat Final Fantasy IV the After Years for our show Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. If you want to check that out, it's just been a constant. It's been a constant struggle this week, like getting through that game, because there's been a good. I think I had to play 13 hours of that game
this week
in order to make up for lost time. And the problem with this week for me was that, I'm a full-time school student. I'm a full-time school student.
Oh, man.
I can't just say student. It has to be a school student, by the way. No, I'm in full-time school, and there's been a lot of homework this week. And then I signed up on people's projects, so we were doing short films. And so, like, yesterday, I had to be on we were shooting in a train, and it was like the most stressful shoot ever, by the way.
Don't cry.
Shut the fuck up. It was the most stressful shoot ever. It was fun, though. Like, it was fun because it was like crazy, but it was still like nutso. And I'm like physically exhausted from yesterday. That was 10 hours of my day. And then tomorrow I have another 8-hour shoot that I have to do, and just like prepping for that stuff before going out, and then Final Fantasy IV After Years on top of that. I have not had a moment of free time this week.
Oh, so the actual answer for those
besides like after I beat Final Fantasy IV and then ate some shit.
The actual answer for those who skipped ahead was Final Fantasy IV the After Years.
That's it.
And
I did beat it though. I beat it an hour ago. So
yeah, that's good. Good on you. It was rough. So anyway, you guys want to
stuck on that final motherfucker? God,
I don't know. Should we answer? Should we look at some questions or?
Let's look at some questions.
Or question.
I know you're at the computer right now and you're not used to it, but it's question time. We got a question?
Yeah. All right. So this one's titled, "What would you do if your father smashed your PS4?" Or other family member.
I'd be like, Dad, I'm an adult. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's the.
I don't live with you anymore. Why are you coming in here breaking my PS4?
First off,
I'm calling the cops.
Why? All right, so this Japanese teen has his PS4 smashed by angry father. Here is the edited short version I recommend you see.
Why did you give us?
Dude!
Oh my god!
He takes it to the sun.
That thing's been smashed by that sledgehammer a couple times, and it still looks kind of fine.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
First of all,
well, I think his dad is clearly a Microsoft fan. Yeah, and honestly, this is never going to be a problem for us because we don't live at home. We're adults.
Well, how would you have felt if you were a kid?
I would be like, why? Like what?
Yeah, what was the point of that?
I cannot.
You buy me this gift.
Okay.
And then you destroy it.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that kid did nothing.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that.
Maybe he's honor bound
like
to obey his father.
Like I don't know what he's doing. Like there's no context because it's all in Japanese.
Well, yeah, there is no context, and so the fake rage for whoever, like, how dare he smash the PS4? There is going to be some context there. No one randomly smashes someone's PS4.
Yeah, I mean,
what did that kid do?
Okay, here's what probably happened, and this is going to be, this might be a little a little out there, but we know from our stereotypes that Japanese people value education very, very much, right? It's very important.
Okay.
And I can see a PS4 with its limited games and small library being very distracting from studying. I can. And so I imagine that's probably what happened because the dad came in, shattered the PS4. The kid's like, oh my God. He doesn't really react. He just kind of freaks out. So the dad's coming from
dad's got a sledgehammer. in his
Admittedly,
hand.
yes. I would be afraid if my father, who I have never met, came at me with a sledgehammer. I would probably just like wait and see what happened. Unless something came at me, and then I'd probably make a move. But I feel like it's probably getting in the way. His father's coming at him from a position of power, which is why the son does nothing. And when he like goes towards him, and the dad like moves with the hammer, the kid's like, "Okay, now do your thing."
Notice the dad did not hit the kid.
No, he didn't. But
He broke the PS4.
he did shatter the fuck out of the PS4.
Which I assume that the father bought the PS4.
I would assume so, yeah. Because why? I mean, why would you break it if you didn't buy it?
That would bring it into another place. Look, Shinru, if my dad broke my PS4, if like somehow I went into a time machine, grabbed a PS4, brought it back to when I was in high school, if my dad broke my PS4, I had probably done something awful.
Yeah. I think if that's the case, if it's a time machine thing, your dad is probably from the future too, and he's like, "Don't bring it back, son. It's not worth it. If the PS4 comes now, doomsday will come." Like, somehow that just causes the end.
Oh, do you remember the YouTube video that was going around where the father like shot the one girl's his daughter's laptop?
Yeah.
After he was like shit talking her parents who had bought the laptop for her, and it was like, you know what? You don't deserve this anymore. And she doesn't deserve it anymore. Now, if I were her father, I would have just taken the laptop away. I wouldn't have shot it. But I mean, it sends the message quite clearly.
I mean, I would be pretty upset though, but I'd probably argue semantics. Like, well, why would you do that? Why not just regulate me from it rather than take it away completely? You know, I probably would have brought an intellectual argument to the scene. Although, of course, a father figure doesn't have to listen to that shit and can do whatever he wants.
That's right.
But I would still give him my 2 cents and then just be like, you know what?
And it's not abusive to break a PS4.
No, it's
abusive
not. I
to
mean,
a child.
it's
to break
fucked
a
up.
PS4.
But
so actually, I'm not mad at this father at all. In fact, that video is actually pretty funny to me. Like,
I would be mad if it happened to me, especially now.
yeah,
because
if
there's
I
no
were a
reason.
teenager and it happened to me, I'd be pissed.
I'd get it though, because as a
But-
teenager, I mean, my GPA was horrible in high school. It was like 1.8 or something like that.
My dad never punished me. Actually, he hardly ever punished me. But my dad never punished me for bad grades.
Yeah, so I
except
mean,
for like, well, you can't do. This is what actually happened. You can't do plays anymore because your grades are bad. And then I would have to stay home instead of being the thespian that I was. I forgot about that.
did he say plays or did he say gay?
Plays. And it was my mom who would do that. It wasn't my dad.
Oh, okay.
Like, my dad's not physically destructive in any way. So, like, I don't. Yeah, he would have never done that.
Even me with my fits of rage that happen, I don't think I would even do that. I would just take it away.
Yeah, just take it away. Put it like in a high place with a lock on it and be like, well, you can have it back when you stop being a dick.
Yeah.
Most extreme case, just sell it.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, when I had a roommate that was watching TV all the time, the TV I paid for, not anyone here.
Okay, it's good.
No, the guy, it was Hayden. He actually, he convinced me to get this triple play package from Comcast. He's like, yeah, dude, it'll be awesome. We'll have cable, we'll have this. And I'm like, oh, he's like, I'll pay for half of it. Motherfucker never paid a dime for that shit. And so one day, he would always just sit in the living room, just dominating the living room. And me, normally not a big deal, but when I had, Liz over at the time, I'd be like, oh, I kind of want to sit out in the living room and maybe watch a movie on the TV that I pay for. He would always just be out there, and I just didn't say anything. And then one day I walked up and was like, hey, I'm taking this, and just unplugged it from the wall and returned it to Comcast. Just like as he was watching a show, I just like unscrewed it. And I was like, yeah, dude, not happening. And then I got my revenge later. But yeah, that's how I would take it. I mean, sell the thing, get some money out of it. Why destroy it?
I'd be mad as a teenager, but I guarantee that kid probably deserved it.
Probably.
Like if the dad went and beat him with the sledgehammer, he didn't deserve that because I don't think anybody deserves to really be hit. I mean, unless they're hitting. But who cares? It's a piece of equipment. The kid can move out of the house eventually and buy his own goddamn PS4, which will never be smashed.
The guy's an idiot for breaking it, but it is obviously it should be his, and if not, there's some problems there. But
well, yeah, I assume it's the parents who bought it for their kid.
Yeah, I don't know, and that's the weird thing is like you could get so much more out of it if you just took it away and used it as leverage. Now the leverage is gone. Now you're just an asshole. Instead of like, oh, you're the dictator, I must bow down. Now it's like you're the tyrant, I must rise up, kind of a thing. But whatever, I don't care. It's his kid, so don't be a fuck, and your PS4 remains intact. That's what I say.
I think there's gonna be some fucking blowhards that disagree with us on this, and I can just say, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, that's I don't really care what anybody else says, but
yeah. I do. I have self-esteem. All right. Well, is that everything for questions today?
Yeah, I think we're only going to do the one.
Okay. All right. Shall we move on to our review of Game Dev Tycoon?
Oh, God, please.
Might as well. So Game Dev Tycoon is a business simulation game where you get to make your own video games. Yeah. And then it was released on December 10th in 2012, and it was created by Greenheart Games.
And this was their first game, I believe. Or
it is their first game. They're currently making a new one right now.
Another Game Dev Tycoon?
Kind of. It's more like I went on their website earlier today, and it said that they're making another game that's similar, but it's not going to be like the same game.
Okay, so it's going to be like
it's another like business simulation type game.
All right,
sort of. And then it was that Greenheart Games was founded by Patrick and Daniel Klug, also in 2012. So they made it like the same year.
Related?
Yeah. They are brothers.
Oh, okay, all right.
I had a feeling.
I assume, all right.
We just want to make sure the audience out there realizes this.
All right. All right, so you guys may have remembered that I mentioned Game Dev Tycoon before in the piracy episode where they had the awesome, the awesome tactic of like averting them. But what I didn't know at the time was that the founder, Patrick Klug, had actually uploaded his own game to torrent sites with the with like a cracked version of it,
so he was baiting them.
He was baiting them, and yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I made
the masturbation motion
gesture with my hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, he actually uploaded that, and the message actually comes up with boss. It seems that while many players play our new game, they steal it by downloading a cracked version rather than buying it legally. If players don't buy the games that they like, we will sooner or later go bankrupt. And players of the cracked version will gradually lose money until they go bankrupt due to piracy.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome. I don't remember that from the
hemorrhage funds.
Yeah.
I don't remember that from the piracy episode, but I don't really listen to anything that comes out of your mouth. So, dick. No, I'm kidding. I remember it. It's pretty cool. And I didn't realize that he put it out on the torrent sites himself.
Yeah,
that's genius, and also like he's enabling it, I guess.
You know what? I've heard of a lot of musicians doing that before they have an album put out. They'll put fake copies of the songs.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They'll like put out like old versions of the songs or like bad files and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like
to thwart people from getting their music illegally. They'll like they'll have people just like keep downloading.
They'll do like the
keep uploading the shitty versions of this, like the actual song.
What's that video called? The Metallica Rocks? Is that the one where they do like half of one? It's like it's all broken apart.
Oh,
Something like that.
Metallica Shreds.
Metallica Shreds. Yeah, great
which is
video.
one of the funniest fucking videos ever.
All right, so that's kind of similar to this game dev tactic then.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really awesome way to like combat piracy.
Yeah, to give them like a big middle finger.
Yeah, because
Sit
there's
on
no
it
way
kind
they'd
of a
be
deal.
able to complete the game if they keep getting fucked by pirates.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you don't want games, steal them, and they'll stop making them.
All right, so shall we talk about story a little bit here? This game doesn't really have that much of a story. It's more about like kind of your life as the player going through from like the age of the PC and the death of the Commodore 64.
Yeah, it starts in the 1980s in a garage.
And so you're coding games by yourself, and it's just you're basically Richard Richard Garriott who made Ultima. You're basically Richard Garriott making games by himself and then slowly moving up to a bigger and bigger company until you become like a huge thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have to like put up capital and stuff like that? Like get loans? How do you?
You start out with a small amount of money, which you have to spend on making
Equipment and
like you have to spend on licensing for.
is it a small $10 million loan from your father?
It's
or?
it's like $100,000.
Yeah, it's
okay.
like $100,000.
And you're in your garage making these games, and I assume it's your garage, but let me explain something. This guy has $100,000, right? This actually kind of bugged me at the beginning of the game. He has $100,000. Fucking rent for his garage or his house is $8,000 a month in the 1980s.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's sick.
That was the one thing where I like started the game and I'm like, this is unrealistic. What is this?
Well, they could have combated that by scaling the beginning loan down to like 10K and having it on like 700. Yeah, what kind of?
I assumed that in my mind, although I'm not entirely sure, like the bank, you could go down into debt like $50,000 or something like that, and the bank could take care of it. I assume.
Yeah.
You're not in debt though. That's your capital. That's what you
okay.
have to
Yeah.
start out with. So I assume I'm not even sure if they thought about it this much, but I assume that you like started out like you saved up money so that you could live without having to take up a job.
Right. Yeah. This is your livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so at some point, this computer programmer decided, hey, I'm going to make games and I'm going to hemorrhage my $8,000 a month in
Yeah.
bullshit fines in the 1980s.
Renting out this football stadium.
I don't think it's just rent though, because all it says is monthly expenses.
$8,000?
Yeah. How many hookers is this guy bringing over?
He's in his fucking garage.
I don't know what he's doing with it. I'm just saying.
This guy-
Big
it says
is his house.
This guy's
probably
got
fucking huge. I don't know.
this guy's got the escort service on speed dial.
Yeah.
He's
Now,
got
okay.
to. He's like, I got to get laid. I don't have time. I need him to come over here and do it while I'm programming, or I'm never going to get this game out.
He's in his garage. He has a mortgage, $8,000 worth of expenses. As far as we can tell, he doesn't have like a gigantic like polygamist. Excuse me.
Oh, it's like
He doesn't have a giant polygamous family that he's gonna like take care of. Maybe he does. I don't know. It doesn't say that.
Yeah, it's like a giant series of garages.
Yeah.
And each wife has like their own door, so they can kind of have their own little area and not necessarily need to see each other.
And you're just like, oh man, dude, the amount of money this guy is hemorrhaging. Let's go through this. This is 1980s. So how much do you think a car payment in the 1980s costs?
I don't know, but I know my grandparents' house was like, they bought it in like late 70s, and I think it was $30,000 for. We're talking like 6-bedroom, 2 floors,
Okay, so
nice house.
Let's assume it's 40,000 then.
okay.
Let's assume, and for a night. Oh, actually, you know what? I assume this guy is doing well, like he was a doctor or something.
He's like, you know what? He just got an interest in video games one day. He's like, you know what? This is the new thing. Doctors are going away. Programmers
Dude.
are in.
They
Okay.
are forever.
And then later, when like now hits, he's like, fuck.
There was no internet, so it's not like he had internet expenses. The most expensive cable packaging was basic cable. I mean, what is that? $20 a month, and that was what, 12 years ago. So what the fuck was it in the 1980s?
I don't know. You could just get like AOL CDs forever back then.
In the 80s,
1,000 free hours. I got
Caleb,
this
the internet
fucking
was
stack.
the internet was not invented till 1992.
Well, there was there. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Well,
Tim Berners-Lee invented the internet.
Well, why'd you mention
through
internet
university.
costs then? Oh, you
No,
said he
I'm saying
doesn't
there
have-
wasn't internet
Right.
costs. So I'm thinking like he might have cable expenses. He might have car expenses.
Well, or he was the guy who invented the internet, and he was funding that project on the side. He was Al Gore. It's Al Gore,
No.
and he's paying someone else to develop the internet to later say that
a
he.
British guy invented the internet named Tim Berners-Lee.
Right? No, I know.
Anyway, fucking Jesus Christ, Al Gore. Okay,
It's okay. You're playing as Al Gore,
Al Gore probably does have $8,000 worth of expenses.
probably.
Not sure about in the 1980s.
Admittedly, he did say out of it in context that he did help support the.
Oh,
he
he
didn't.
helps
He didn't
us,
say he
yeah,
invented it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why.
What the fuck else? Okay, car payment, cable, food. How much fucking food does this guy consume?
All of it.
He doesn't sleep, so he
And
just
let's-
eats.
Okay, Caleb, how much would an 8,000? Oh, let's see. Let's assume he just has $300 in other expenses during the month. Okay. Assume that's his car and food and cable bill. Let's just assume that's his livelihood cost. And maybe like I don't know, like an extra. Obviously, he's well-to-do, so like an extra $100 of just random. So let's say what, $400. $400. Now his fucking this is 1980s here. His fucking mortgage, $7,600. Maybe you know what, he could be putting some of that in savings. So let's back it up a little bit. Maybe he is putting a lot in savings, but I assume that we would be seeing that with his amount that he could
Eventually, we'd probably see
use
it
with the
somewhere.
games,
Right.
but I guess not. So okay, you know what? No, he's it's a straight. Some of it might be going to retirement. Let's see. Let's assume that his mortgage is $6,000. $6,000 a month. Caleb, as you're the only man with a mortgage, what percentage of your mortgage goes to the bank?
Goes to the actual loan.
Yeah.
Right now, I think I'm paying $740, and I think about $230 of it goes directly to the loan. A bunch goes to interest. Then I have my mortgage insurance premium and my taxes.
What is that, about 1/3?
Yeah, it's about a.
Okay, so
well-
so that's $2,000 a month. That's 2,000 times 12. I mean, this is a rough estimate figure.
Well, it's
Joe math.
24,000.
It's 24,000. 24,000 times 30. I assumed he got a 30-year loan.
Well, okay. Well, here's how we could do it.
How expensive is this dude's house?
Here's how we could do it. His house is a $6,000 loan, right? It's
Yeah.
It's about 9 times the amount of my loan.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's going to be about. It's got to be about
Dude,
9
he's got
times.
almost $1 million home.
Yeah, it's like it's over $1 million. Mine's
over $1 million?
140,000. So it's like 1.036. So $1,036,000 home, something like that. It's sick. This guy.
We're
is,
bad at math, so like just
He's got a
forgive us,
tiny
but-
ass garage then for
And
$1 million
No,
home.
that was probably his second garage. Let's be clear here. That's his game development garage. Fuck, dude. He's got a fucking $1 million home. What is this guy doing games for? Like, I guess just out of passion.
Yeah, it's a hobby.
And he got like, he's like, well, I have this gigantic mortgage I have to pay off, but I'm going to save up $100,000 easily, and I'm going to make my dreams come true by myself in my basement. And so, yeah, you're basically from the start of major video games. You're going from there up until the modern day, and actually past that.
Yeah, actually past that. It ends when you have like a 35-year career.
And you hit when you start making games. There's kind of hit and misses. There's You got to deal with new technology coming on the rise, like the Commodore 64 is already there, but like
Right, the cost associated with advancing your software
Yeah,
for
so
these consoles.
and you have to purchase the ability to make games for those consoles.
Also, his home is
and
about
those things.
1.26 million. I did the math. again.
1.26 million. Look at that.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's sick. All right, so yeah. All right, so as you're going through the...
In the 80s, how big is that fucking home?
I have no idea. That is like Sundance mode. It's like sick, I'm sure.
Fuck, dude.
So anyway, the story goes...
in a shitty garage.
you get it in the beginning, and then you have to. What happens? You run into new technology. You're saying
You run into new technology, and then assuming you get a hit or two, you'll eventually be making enough capital that you can actually, if you choose to, and I waited a little while before making transition, you can choose to get like 6 employees under you.
Oh, okay.
Or actually, I think it starts off with 4, and then you get another office, you can have like 6.
Yeah,
employees.
you once you make a certain amount of money, it like offers you to move into a new building.
You're making enough money that you can not only move into a new building and probably pay way too much rent. The money amounts always have kind of bugged me this whole game. But and it's a
Yeah,
little.
I think it makes a little more sense later on.
It doesn't make sense compared to the times, or like I can understand
itself,
the
even, from the
office
sound of
rent seems realistic, but his home rent is just out of proportion.
I think it's just to keep it kind of like at a certain difficulty level.
Yeah, but they could have just scaled it down.
Yeah, he
Inflation.
could have had $30,000. He bought a
deflated the amount.
$2,000 computer, probably.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, computers back in the day is fucking expensive. They were way expensive like 10 years ago. It's like, what the fuck were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, back then. I'm sure they were quite the cost. I mean, you could have started out with $30,000 and paying, I don't know, even if you're in LA or something, like you could have been paying $700 in rent.
Maybe the 8,000 expenses is going directly to his computer.
That seems
It's like the most high tech computer, and he has to pay it off.
That seems high. You know, he could be going to like school, but even school in the 80s wasn't this. None of this makes sense. Anyway, yeah, you can just basically go on, and the game has it. They don't actually use any trademarked terms for any of their systems or anything like that.
Yeah, everything is like some kind of knockoff title, like Xbox, like the M box.
Yeah, the M box.
Okay, nice.
And what is the Famicom called? It's like
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. And the PlayStation was like the Play. What the fuck was it?
Oh man. Is it Playmation or something like that? It was something really weird.
They come up with pretty clever like names, and then the box design always looks really similar to what it actually was. And basically, the technologies also come up with you, and you have to spend some of your time doing research.
Yeah, like researching new topics, like to do like an airplane game or like some kind of dungeon crawler
kind of feel the
stuff like
market.
You got to research a few things. You have to make game engines for your company. And so you have to research technologies on that. So
Can you outsource the game engines?
No,
that
everything
sucks.
has to be in house.
Jeez.
yeah, you're
No wonder your
fucking
expenses are so fucking high.
softwareing it.
Yeah, every 20 years.
You can't just like purchase the Unreal Game Engine. You just have to.
That sucks.
Yeah, you always have to make your own and then keep researching technologies to like add on to it. So you have to keep making.
And then you do research game genres like he was talking about, and you also have, after you put out a game, you get the reviews, you get the sales back from the game. Then you can do a post analysis. I can't remember the words they use in the game, but that's what it is. And you're doing research there, or you get research points, I guess. is
Yeah,
how
you
the
get
game
research
works.
points.
And then you realize, okay, RPG doesn't really work well on the Xbox and stuff like that. So you learn,
Yeah, so like certain
new
consoles
things.
have certain trends, and
Right,
then,
certain consumers.
And eventually, at the end of the game, you also have to like go to E3 and stuff. Or it's not E3. There's like game convention,
it's
whatever it's
G3.
called. It's G3.
Nice.
Okay. You got to go to G3 and hopefully like hype up your game a lot.
Speaking of
You got to
hyping
purchase
up.
booths and stuff like that, and you also can like do marketing and
Oh, okay, marketing.
and
yeah,
and you have to research marketing.
Do you get to put like a certain chunk of your budget into marketing?
No, it pops up with like a little menu.
It
that,
says marketing will cost this much for this package.
Yeah, so like you can like market it in like magazines, and that costs like $10,000.
All right.
Or
Yeah,
So you could have a massive marketing
or like
budget.
$2 million, which is what it started being near the end of the game.
What fucking magazine is that?
It's not
It's
just
like all the magazines.
It's like it'll bring up a menu with packages. Like you can do
like
this.
what you want to do.
You can advertise in magazines, or you can advertise in print and TV and all this.
Yeah, and you can come out with a demo and stuff like that.
Do you guys remember the GTA 5 advertisements of like buildings with the characters on them, like big skyscrapers?
I remember that.
They had the same thing for FF13 in
Nice.
LA. They had like a big
lightning thing. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. Did you get anything like that, or was it just like a standard budget?
It's a budget. That's what you get, and it tells it kind of what it's spending it on. It's a simple game. Have you ever played like a I had a business management class in like high school that we had to play like some like McDonald's do the
I played the
business
McDonald's
thing.
game.
It's kind of like that, a little bit more complicated and a lot of bit more fun.
Is it easier too? Because that game is fucking impossible.
It's easier.
You lose. It's just how it works in McDonald's.
It's easier.
It's easier, and especially like after you've played it a couple times, you start learning how to like do certain things, and so it like becomes a lot easier. You do a lot better.
At the end of the game, though, and this is really like, I know we have a story section for our reviews, and
kind of has a
and
story.
Simulation games are tough with story because you make your own story in a way, and there's not really characters. It's your business, your Sim City or your roller coaster theme park or whatever it is. And it's the same with this thing. It's your game development company. At the end of the game, though, where it does actually end, the game tells you can go on, but this is really the end of the game. You get a
get like an analysis of like your overall like what you did throughout your career.
That's true, and you get like a special award.
Yeah,
for being
it's like a
in
lifetime
the game
achievement
industry
award
for 40 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's basically what the story.
Wait, you said 40 years? Is that what it was?
It's 35.
Oh, okay.
5 years, whatever it is.
So you get like a veterans award for kicking ass.
And I think it takes about 10 hours of gameplay to get there. But yeah, that's basically what the story is, and kind of like what the obstacles in the way are.
Cool. Well, I mean, even with the lack of story, I mean, this is a very subjective sort of way to look at the story, or objective, I guess, whichever one it is. I can't fucking think. I've had like 2 hours of sleep. So, I mean, within the game, is there content that it throws at you that makes it, it moves along from the sounds of it?
Yeah, it's the new technologies.
Yeah,
Okay,
it definitely moves along.
All right, then I think that totally counts.
And
I mean,
it's the next G3 you have to prepare for, and all that other shit. And it's really a mental thing. As the player playing the game, I don't know if you agree with this, Caleb. As the player playing the game, you're kind of like going, "Oh, I have to like my legacy must go on." So like you're doing sequels, and you're like, "Fuck, we gotta get this ready for G3. I have to get a game developed right now because I know G3's around the corner in a few weeks."
G3's coming out. Gotta like hype it up with some magazines.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotta get people to like record numbers coming to see me.
And then you're thinking, okay, do I go with the RPG again because I know what works in an RPG, or should I try a new genre and ultimately fail because that's what happens when you try a new genre? Like it's all self. It's kind of self drama. It's not really like the game's drama. I'm gonna go ahead and say with storyline, and this isn't the type of game where it needs a storyline, and I guess it worked for me. I was always like playing the game. It's more to do with the gameplay than it is with the story. But I'll give storyline a 10 out of 10, just because for the type of game that it is, story's good.
And it actually has a progression, like unlike most simulation games, which is an interesting thing. And I would also give it a 10.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. All right. So,
all right, now for the fun part, gameplay. I mean, obviously, we've talked about how you have to make advancements, you have to spend money. I mean, give me a little more detail on what I will expect if I were to pick up Game Dev Tycoon.
Give you the deets.
Yeah, give me the deets.
Basically, when you start out a game, it like asks you if you want to make it like E-rated, like rated T, or like rated M. Like giving like who you want to target the audience for. and then it gives you the option to choose the
team members that are.
Well,
the type of audience that you're going for.
Yeah, the type of audience.
The type of game that it is.
Yeah, the size of the game. You can make it like a small, medium, or large game, and then you can also like choose the genre that it will be. The type of game,
the system that it'll come out on.
Can you mess with like price points from the beginning?
No, you can't mess with how you're going to sell your games. And it's not like you would. I think $60 for the last 20 years has been kind of the price of games.
Not always. I think. What is that? What is that game on that the Xbox and PC had that was like a shooter?
That there's a million of those.
Yeah,
names that go under that.
To be a little bit more specific.
Not Halo. It's like a suit kind of game though.
Titanfall.
That game did not come out at full price. Right. At least I don't think.
It did.
Did it really?
It dropped really quick.
Oh, that's what it was. They dropped it really fast. Can you mess with stuff like that? Can you drop the price?
No, you can't.
Or it's a natural progression?
This is how it works.
It's a natural progression until it goes off the shelves.
Before you release the game, and we'll try to catch up on the stuff. Before you release a game, there are 3 development periods for the game. Mm-hmm. And I can't really remember what they are, but I assume like one is planning, development, and then finishing it up. Something like that. You put your team members, or if it's yourself, and you put how much emphasis you're putting on the different technologies or different artistic aspects of the game.
Yeah, so there's like graphics will be a section, sound will be a section, like the AI will be a section, just like all the like little things that go into a game will be like focused on.
And there's these bars that you're like, and you know, it depends on like an RPG game. You don't really have to worry about what's the things you don't have to worry about in RPG games. Like you have to worry about storyline, but you don't have to worry about graphics as much.
Okay.
And so you're going to put more emphasis into the storyline than you are in the graphics. So most of your time or your employees' time is going to go towards this as opposed to this, and kind of where you put those graphs is
it really helps and determines what the outcome of the game is going to be.
And which employees you put in charge of those pieces.
Yeah, because each employee has their own specific stats that will help.
Do you upgrade those employees yourself? Like, do you train them in certain areas, or do they just naturally come into their roles?
Both. When you hire them, they have certain stats that you can like choose from. Like, you can pick one from like 3 that it gives you options for. And then, like, as you play games as they make games, they like level up certain stats, and then you can also train them in certain things, and so it helps along with that too.
So where you put all that stuff, it really is what makes or breaks a game at the end of it. It's like what you put the most attention to, and if you put the right employees in there. What he was talking about with employees, like. Eventually, like, you can train your staff up using your research points, and you get during these things, you get technology points, research points, design points. Is that it?
And then there's bugs
and
that happen in the games. Yeah.
Okay.
And each employee, as they're kind of going along through the development, because you'll say, okay, let's go to the next phase of development. They'll be typing along, and the points will come up. And depending on your employee, like if they have like a lot of design background and you put them on the design thing, you'll have a lot of design points towards your game. And the research points, because everybody has to do a little bit of research, I assume, is how like the real.
Yeah, like as you make the game, it kind of like happens.
The research points go up into a corner, and you can choose to spend those research points on like new things for a next graphics engine, or a next game engine, or like you can choose it to train your employees better,
or open up new topics, or later on certain things like making your own Steam or like other things like that.
Oh, nice.
With like an R&D department when you finally get that last upgrade.
Yeah. And then you put out your game. You can wait a little while. I always let them wait until the bugs go down to 0.
Always wait until there's no bugs.
At the end, they're working on
issue for those.
At the very last phase of development, you can choose when to put out the game. There's a hype bar, so like you know how much hype the game is going to have before you release it. So it's like it's the balance of you got to wait until your bugs are down and your hype is up. But if your hype is going too fast, you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sell this game.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to have a Sim City on your hands, but at the same time, you don't want to have a Last Guardian where like it's been in development for eternity.
Yeah.
All right,
and
that's
the
cool.
hype goes down.
And the
because
hype
it's just been too
obviously
long.
will impact sales in the end, right?
Hype does impact sales.
Is it very substantial? I mean, is it worth it to
Yes.
wait for the
Yes.
bugs to
Oh
go
yeah.
down? or-
The initial
you-
sale is like intense.
With the
Okay.
bugs, though, if it's too buggy, like you'll have bad reviews, and then you'll have customer revolts on you.
Yeah, you'll start losing
So-
fans and stuff.
You got to balance all that stuff out before you put out the games. You'll have 5 reviews for a game, or four or 5 reviews for a game that'll come out, and they're kind of like just these like pre-generated quotes that the game makers have made. That's like powerful. Good thing that like the graphics are amazing or something, like just little quotes.
This and this are a
then
good combo.
Then a score out of 10, and then of course you have your average score. And after you
Right.
put out a game, then you get to see games are out for like 6 or 7 weeks or something like that, or I think it's 8 weeks.
for a few. If they're out for a while.
And it's copies shipped, so you see how many copies you sold.
Right.
And so like, you know, you depending on how much you've experimented, or like it does follow trends, like actual real world trends the game has
it'll-
set in place.
Yeah, it'll pop up with like, oh, the simulation games are really popular right now.
And you know what? With Game Dev Tycoon, they've actually gone and like they've done their research on like the small history of gaming that we have, and like what's trendy and what's not. So when you put out games, does actually like affect sales
Oh, nice,
quite a
yeah.
bit. And I think it probably does affect reviews. I don't actually know if it affects reviews, but you know, better reviewed games get sold better, and like the more trendy they are, they get sold better. But if you put out a game and it's like a copy of a game that you just had like 2 months ago, the customers, you know, you have a fan base.
How often can you pump games out? I mean, is that all dependent on how much you put into
You
them?
can pump out games pretty quickly in this.
Okay.
yeah.
And did you guys play the market based on real world? Like, did you throw Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 out when it needed to be out?
I kind of did that in the beginning. Like I started doing stuff with like Final Fantasy and then like Super Mario and stuff
Right.
like that. But I eventually I just stopped and started naming them funny names.
You
because
can
I
play
could.
with trends. Like knowing like really the only game genre that I'm relatively affluent in is RPGs, right? So me knowing when certain RPGs were released on what systems
Right.
and what things they kind of like devoted themselves to as far as like graphics, or
Yeah, that
story,
really helps out.
and shit like that. Like
Okay.
I would do that and my game would be a hit. And it would like it's Game Dev Tycoon is like a realistic sort of way of looking at the times, and I'm not sure like in the phases of game development, which I've totally forgot the words of, and I wish I had them out with me. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's really addicting. Like you can also put out sequels for your games and stuff, and sequels have more hype to them than other things. But you can't put out a sequel too fast, or else it's a rushed sequel, right?
Yeah, otherwise
Yeah.
the fans get mad
Yeah.
and start accusing you of like trying to pillage them of their money.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's basically the 3 game development stages, and then there's the stage where you're basking in your glory or defeat, because you hemorrhage way more money when you're developing a game, and if the game doesn't make a profit, it's awful. I only had one game that didn't make a profit. It lost me a couple $1,000. For the most part, they did actually make me a profit. But yeah, that you just repeat that process over and over again of going through. And
Okay.
of course, you can hire better employees. I spent $2 million hiring better employees. Like one at a time, I just spent $2 million here, $2 million there. And then at the end of my game, I was like, you're making sick games. Like I was just basking in it. Did you ever make a perfect game? Because I know that's an achievement on Steam. I did.
I didn't.
Pix Go Go 4. There was a
Go forward?
Yeah, so I was playing this game on Twitch, and we should have done our plugs earlier, but whatever. I was doing it on twitch.tv/NewtClan Gaming. And
Nice.
That is an inaccuracy.
there is a
You're doing it on Ultima.
I was doing that one on NewtClan, wasn't I?
Oh no, you might have been actually.
Yeah.
We might have transferred you over.
I think I was doing this game on NewtClan. Anyway, there's a person in the chat that we've seen before. Their name's Pixgo on Twitch, and so I like named a game after him early on, and I just kind of like made that my game series. I made that if I were Square Enix, that was my Final Fantasy, or like if I were Bungie, that was my Halo or something like that. Where like I would develop games in between, but like that's the real thing.
That's the flagship kind of a thing.
So I would like, I'd mess around. I'd even do another RPG genre, but my RPG series, the Pixgo series, whatever the fuck that means, which is like a huge story-driven, violent RPG series. Eventually, Pixgo 4 came out. It was a perfect game.
Nice.
It was a perfect game on the, I think it was on the PS3 era.
Nice.
Yeah, Pixgo 5 did not do as well. Oh, wait, it wasn't called Pixgo 4, because I remember I started messing with the name. I think it was called Pixgo.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was my perfect game. I'm sad that you didn't get a perfect game, Caleb.
I was always screwed over. It was that rip-off of Game Informer that never like allowed me to. It was always like a 9, like, oh, really good, dude. And I'm like,
That's surprising. Game Informer normally blows the fucking studios. They're like, COD, 10 out of 10.
It's not
Slaps
Game Informer.
penis on
It's
mouth.
what is the name that they have
Fucking
for
dude,
it?
I can't remember. The names are so similar that I remember the real name more than I actually remember what they put
Yeah,
down.
I'll refer to it as Game Informer.
Yeah.
through there,
It
'cause it's the
was
same.
it was really funny. Like
Nice.
I love how close they are, but
I can tell you
obviously
love
it's
it
not
by
quite
your
there.
recollection of it.
Yeah.
So, I wish that they had more things to that. I think it was the studio's first game, though.
It is.
So it's not like that big of a deal that they didn't have like every option on the planet, like you were saying, like put out pricing and shit like that. And I would love to have different options. Like if I were going to make a sequel to Game Dev Tycoon and Game Dev Tycoon 2, I would love to have things like, I would love to have more employees available and actually like micromanage them. Like you could go in like super micromanage mode. That would be fun for me. I would also like to, have packaging. Like you could upload an image and have that as the package
Oh, nice,
for
yeah.
your game or something like that. And be able to hire designers and like testers and shit like that. Not just, it's simple because, simple is fun.
Yeah.
But I would love to have the option of doing more stuff. And I know there's mods for this game, but I don't think they go into anything like that.
There's so many mods.
Yeah.
As soon as I found out that there are mods, I like went on Steam to look to see how many there are. I think there was like 4,000.
Nice.
Like the
Damn.
second that I learned of it, which was only like 2 days after like they had announced it. So I was like, "Holy fuck!"
And
like,
I would
who
like-
was doing this.
I would also like a spin-off game where it's like you have a brick and mortar game store and like attached to this somehow. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm talking to the developers out there, which I hope hear this.
Yeah.
That would be a fun game too.
Did you ever make your own console?
My own console?
Yeah.
How? Really?
There's like once you finally get to the third building, it allows you to do like the research, the R&D department, and then there's also like a hardware lab that you can get. And then once you get the hardware lab, you can like research getting your own console, and then you can start releasing consoles.
There were some aspects of this game I did not mess with, having to do with publishing. Like I did not attach to a publisher at all. I was only myself the entire time. And so I have a feeling like that's kind of in that realm because I don't ever remember that option.
No, it wasn't. It's
Or do your employees just have to be trained like crazy?
I think you just have to research it, and then like it opens up for you, and then you can like.
I must not have gotten to that research point. That makes me mad. I wish I had done that stuff.
It's something
done the Joe
to
box.
do again when you play it a second time. Because you probably will.
I wanted to play it a second time for this thing, but after years was taking my time, so I only had the one giant play. It is a pretty long simulation game.
Yeah, well, I noticed you were playing the hell out of it, though. Like that one night I was playing.
Yeah, I played it for like 6 hours in a row. One night, I stayed up till like 3.
He like called me and was like, "Hey, do you want to just do Game Dev Tycoon as our game?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Yeah, I just pumped like 7 hours into it right after I bought it." I was like, "All right,
Yeah. So I got to say, on the gameplay point, I think I wish I had more options, and obviously there are more options.
there's a lot to this game, but yeah, like more stuff would be interesting to see.
More
too.
way of micromanaging the thing. However, it was addicting, and I had a ton of fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and put gameplay at 9 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I think I would agree with that. That is a
9 out of 10.
Yeah, I would. As soon as I got that game, I was so addicted to it, playing it for days, just like learning the little trends of the way that it would go. And it's really fun.
All right, so the next category we have is obviously design, which I feel is going to be one that kind of lacks in this game as well. Of course, that's only from an outside.
Why are you saying that?
It just seems like it's like Reservoir Dogs. It all just takes place in one room. And how much design could there really be?
It takes place in 3 rooms.
Okay.
Oh,
it is a little claustrophobic. The Twitch audience did not really care for watching me play this game. It wasn't a fun game to watch. But the design works just fine. And it kind of has this kind of like lighthearted feel with like the bubbles that come up from the computer and go.
Yeah, it's like a lighthearted, cartoony kind of feel. And
it is.
It's. I like it.
I had it's very simple cartoon design. As you were saying, it does have some issues with the design itself, mostly having to do with like you can't change anything in the office, which kind of bugs me. Also, every person kind of has that fake like that look on them, just typing away.
Everybody's a zombie.
No, it would be cool, and I know this is like a brand new game for this studio, but it would be cool if like there was like moving around in the office.
Yeah, they like went to go get coffee or
actual
something.
things happening. I know like if you made Pong early on, I guess like the Pong board would actually make movement. That's what I heard from someone on the Twitch thing, but I never did it. So there is some playability with background stuff that I didn't really get into. And one thing that really bugged me is like I couldn't tell where bubbles were coming from, and then clicking on the wrong points on the screen would sometimes like make me I didn't actually mean to click on him, or like I meant to click on him. I didn't mean to like get into this menu, because there's 2 different menus when you click in different places. And so sometimes those things didn't really align that well with like my view on the screen of them. So design, in my opinion, like it's serviceable, but it was kind of bland.
All right.
Not saying that the designer, like the person who did the art, is a bad artist. In fact, if they had more freedom, I assume it would be something more spectacular. But in my opinion, the design, like the look of the game was kind of bland, but it worked for the game that it was. It did look like one of those, we're managing the store little games from like 10 years ago. It looked like one of those.
Okay, that's fair.
What do you think?
You couldn't tell where the bubbles were coming from?
Like it got messy.
Well, they're like different colored, so I could like always tell.
It got messy, and it was like an inch above their computer screen, so I was like, fucking. Is he doing his job? Like, I can't tell.
I never really had any major issues. I mean, like, I do wish there was like more that you could do with like like customizing the space that you're in, or like I don't know, just like messing around with some of that stuff. But I really enjoyed it quite thoroughly.
I would like to be able to design my office.
Yeah.
That would be like the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah, that would be cool. It wouldn't be, I doubt it'd be that hard to throw in. But I mean, obviously this is their first. Like,
I don't even know how many people like were behind this game. Probably like a staff of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. I'd be surprised if it were that much bigger. But yeah, design was serviceable. I'm going to go ahead and put design as like it was really boring for the Twitch audience to witness. They were like, "Oh, this game is boring." I'm like, "It's not boring to me, because the gameplay is fun."
It's definitely more fun to be playing it than I imagine.
The gameplay is fun, but I guess to watch it is just kind of dull. When you're playing something like Roller Coaster Tycoon from 2003, like the game looks interesting always. And so it would be more interesting, like, and your roller coasters are interesting and stuff like that. But because it's like dudes in an office that never move except to like type.
Yeah, I could see that being like, oh, fuck, what are you doing?
Yeah, like watching the game would be a problem. And
but I would say playing it is more fun, mostly because like of all the stuff that like keeps happening to you.
Playing it is more fun.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like it's like happening to you.
It's the emotional rapport that the game builds within you.
Yeah, like it's like stuff keeps popping up. You're always having to manage certain things, but like nobody watching it.
No
is
one
would
like, ever want to watch that fucking game.
It's like, oh, he's just micromanaging a thing. Why would I want to watch that?
Not that that's how the game should be judged, either on design, but I do think the design was kind of bland. It was like, I don't know, it was like Family Guy sort of like design. It was really kind of flat and uninteresting. So I would go with design. I'm going to go ahead and put I'm going to go ahead and put design as a. It was so mediocre. Put it as a 5.
All right.
It wasn't bad. It was serviceable, but it wasn't good.
All right, that's fair.
I would also give it a 5.
You're just gonna copy my numbers all day?
No, just given like what I was thinking I was going to give it. So,
all right. So the next category we have in our Nude Clan game review is the music. Now I caught it for like 2 seconds.
It's music and
sound. Yeah, sorry, music and sound. I only caught like 2 seconds of it while you were playing it. I was doing something else. Is there any sort of soundtrack to this game? I mean, is there like office music? Is it like fun, lighthearted? What happens? Like
it's the same kind of jazzy, happy, backgroundy sound.
Yeah, almost
the
like
entire
elevator
time.
music.
It is elevator music the entire time.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because you're kind of lost in the gameplay and there's all these other things going on, you're not really paying attention to the music.
You're not really focusing
so
on it.
it works.
It sort of works. There was a point about 3 hours in where I was like, fucking that same music just keeps going.
Yeah.
So actually I'm gonna like the piece itself isn't bad, but it's not great.
Well, it's you gotta put it into perspective. I mean, when we play Final Fantasy 12, a lot of the pieces they're okay. It's a good soundtrack. It's fine. It works. But I was never at a point where after like 3 hours of the same soundtrack, I was never like, Jesus, this is gonna end.
But mostly in like Final Fantasy, you're always moving around, so it has like
it's just
a lot of different.
It's just so atmospheric
songs.
that you just don't realize it. It just feels right. Is that not what was happening?
It felt right. I just maybe I played the game for too long in a row
okay.
that
that
the
happens.
soundtrack started to grind on me. Did you have that at all?
No.
deaf,
Like
so,
if I got kind of bored with it, I would just like
Put on your
mute
own
the
music.
sound. Yeah, put my own
Blasphemer.
music. But I don't think it was too much of a problem. I mean, like even some of the in-game sounds were like just fine. You know, the little bubbles like making their own little noises, and then the like sounds of the crowds coming in when you're in the G3 and stuff like that. I think
The bubble sounds were always satisfying. Which is a very smart thing to do with your little games like Candy Crush. I really think the only reason like people play Candy Crush is to get like the good sounds out of it, like the really satisfying like ring, like all that other shit.
You get that out of Bejeweled 2 as well. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
with the robot rapist.
The sound makes it twice as fun. And so you know what? The sound, the in-game sounds, I'm not talking about music here, which is half the sound score for me. Which the music I'd give 2 out of 5 for. But the actual in-game sound, like it is fun, and like, you know, people like going woo and clapping for you at the G3 convention, and like
when you get like a shitload of people showing
when
up.
there's a little like ding sound when like there's a new when the menu pops up saying there's a new system coming to town, which maybe happened a little too often, but it was still kind of like, ooh,
New
look at this,
research
look at
topics,
this. So like
that, yeah.
I would say sound I'd give 5 out of 5. That's in-game sound. Music I'd give 2 out of 5.
All right, so that tallies up to 7. Is that going to be your thing?
That is going to be my sound and music score.
All right, I assume the same for Craig.
I will give it a 6.
Oh my God.
I know. A little different.
Go for it. Tell us why. What shit you off about it?
Mostly it is pretty much the same song over and over again. I mean, like the in-game sounds were just fine, but like with when you have like a simulation game like that, you want to be playing it for like a while and micromanaging all that stuff. You don't want to be hearing like the same
Yeah, I mean, it's almost
song over and over.
You could compare it to any world map moment in FF3. The little do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That's the song no matter where you are in the game for the world map. You spend a ton of time in the world map. It works.
You know what would be bitching, and I know these guys are in-game or indie developers, so like they might play around with this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What would be bitching is like if they just like had a sound folder that you could pop up. You remember the Xbox and the original Xbox, and you might be able to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
You have your music folder right on
Yeah.
your Xbox, and like there are certain games where you could go in and like
Pull your music.
pull your
into
own
it, yeah.
music through, and like have the levels be right for the game. That would be awesome. If, like. Because like it's a room of computer programmers, they're going to have their own music that they're going to be listening
Right,
to. So
yeah.
why not as the boss of the computer programming place, why not pump in your own tunes?
Yeah, that'd be cool. They did that for the PS3 as well. I remember playing Burnout Paradise, and it had a custom soundtrack. So it's a lot of fun, and
I would
cool.
I would like that option, or to have more tracks.
Yeah,
based upon the years. That'd be cool too.
Oh yeah, music like based on the like.
Oh yeah, you get like
what year it
80s
is.
music, and oh god, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, just have the synths in the 80s, and
It's
then
too bad they didn't hire me as a composer.
Uh,
Yeah. I'd be fucking with
you know, there was a job page on their website. You might want to go check it out.
Oh, maybe.
Well, you'd have to know how to program. Maybe, I don't know. It could be.
I don't know
else.
what they're looking for. But,
I have a feeling that for the music, they probably had some like jazzy tune. They either hired it out to like one guy,
Yeah, to just make them something.
or they might have taken like stock music somewhere and paid for it.
Yeah, I could see that. It's just a whatever thing. I mean, just to have.
And
really all they
it's
do.
like quiet enough that it doesn't matter. So you know,
right.
it's yeah. I'm gonna put 7 out of 10. And
All right, so the next element and the final element in our review is the replayability. Now, coming from my standpoint, it sounds like you could play the game a few times because you get different outcomes. But the one thing that I feel might make me not want to play through multiple times is the fact that it's one of the cooler elements. One of the cool things that you guys have said about the game is that it goes through, and at certain times, certain games are big. Now, that's awesome, but the problem with that is you can't set your own trends. You can't be like, fuck that. I want to make this game instead of what was big at the time. Is that what happens, or is it...
No, I think the trends kind of change. I mean, they're not always the same. I do think that they like tend to follow it, but you don't really have to put out a game that's of the same type just to make money. I mean, you can make whatever the hell you want.
well, you can make whatever the hell you want, but I think he's wrong about that. I think if you had like a PS2 game and you put out an RPG on it, it's going to be a bigger hit than if you had a PS2
certain
game.
consoles do follow like certain
Right,
trends.
yeah, no, that's what
I mean,
I'm
like there's a separate trend that like the whole of the gaming community will follow.
It's the Game Station. Sorry, that's what it's called.
The Game Station. That's right.
No, what I was thinking is it'd be cool to, within this game, to set your own trends. To be like, to build up a certain sort of trend, like, you know, forecasting, throwing out a little tidbits of stuff here and there, and then make that the big thing that you cash in on. Or, I don't know, it kind of, from your guys' description, it might...
That's kind of the part of the challenge aspect of the game and how well your game's going to do. So I actually disagree with that, because that would take out the playing of it.
You can also kind of do that when
if I understand what you're saying.
If you have a large buildup of fans for like certain games,
So you could just defy the marketplace if you have a big enough company.
If you have a big enough
Somewhat.
fan base, then you can pretty much
Somewhat.
do that.
Okay.
You do gather fans for your game company. So like,
Right.
you know, people who are fans of Blizzard will buy everything Blizzard. It's
Right.
kind of like that.
Okay. So you can
Except I
in a way.
way more games than Blizzard ever did.
Yeah. That's good to know then, that you can sort of set your own thing. And even if it isn't the trending big deal, you can still make money. I mean,
And after you're done with the campaign, you can just keep going. Like the games, there's no more development of systems after a certain point. But after that, it becomes a sandbox game. You just do whatever the fuck you want, make whatever games you want.
nice.
Yeah, you just
So-
keep going until you go bankrupt.
It is, yeah.
Essentially.
Did you ever go bankrupt?
No. Well, actually, yeah, a few times when I
Wow,
first started.
really?
When I first started, like I started getting like really shitty scores on my games.
Oh,
Like I got like 1s and 2s.
I had a
and
much
then, like,
easier time.
And then they started raping me for it. They're like, "Nope, we're not having
you were
this no
probably
more."
experimenting a lot more than I was. I was always like
trying to see what like would work.
I was
Joe had
always
the
like,
wiki up on the side.
PC, I knew this game was popular, so I will try this. And on the Game Boy Advance, I know this was popular, so I shall try this.
You know what's weird? An airplane action game is not very good. I will let you know that.
I had horror action.
I would imagine that would be pretty
not the right combo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or it was horror adventure, one of the two.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got
Horror
fucked up on.
adventure would probably not work
It's
out
like
as well.
I didn't understand. Like to me, I was like, "Is it an action?" Like I was thinking of Silent Hill or something. I was
Or
like,
Resi.
Is it an adventure game or is it an action game?
It would probably be more action.
I
Adventure
guess
is
it would be
a
more
little bit
action. I guess it would be
man.
more action, but I assumed adventure.
You know what? Resident Evil
And I
is
had
both.
I think
So
that was my
I don't know
worst.
why.
It is a bit both, but
My worst
probably
game
more
ever
action-y.
was my horror game.
Did you lose money on it? Was that the one you lost a few thousand on?
I think so.
Jeez.
That's too bad.
It was on the wrong system.
It was the voice acting.
The wrong thing.
I promise you.
Yeah, it was the voice acting.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Well, it's not even that. That's the good part. It's their interactions. They're so bad. It's like they hired people with hangovers off the street to read lines.
And they probably had in-house people who have no business being in front of a microphone to do that for them.
Probably, yeah.
That's what happens almost every time. With replayability, you can also, and I'm not sure if we should count this with the score of the game, but as Kaleb was saying, there are tons of mods to as little improvements for this game, as far as what I could tell what the mods were designed for, that you could also put in to have a slightly different experience. I was going to try it, but again, I didn't have any time.
What about achievements? I mean,
it does have achievements on Steam.
Are any of them drawing to go through and be like, oh, cool, I can do this. Yeah, let's try that. I know Joe probably didn't even check.
I didn't even really look at them, no. But I know there is a few to just get a perfect game, like Joe said, beating surviving the 35 years of the campaign. So
all right, yeah, because
it's a few things like that.
I mean, for me, I know those have some replayability pull. I mean, if it's something that I feel like, oh, I can jump back in and knock out, I'll do it. Or if I have to play a whole playthrough, if I have time and I'm interested, I'll do it again. But I don't know. Seems secondary in this.
There was a point last week where I was like, oh gosh, I really want to try it with mods.
Yeah,
but I didn't have time.
Right. Well, the mods we couldn't really fairly put them in here, unless of course they were mods made by the team. But even then, the final concrete product was this. So,
and I got to tell, okay, if we're not going to count trying it again with mods as one of the things for our replayability score.
Yeah, just the game. If you had the game and you lost internet connection, this is the game you have.
If I lost internet connection, I'd probably play that or Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
All right.
They're very similar in many aspects.
Yeah, that's true.
Roller Coaster, I would probably pick Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 over this.
Well, yeah, it's a blast.
Replayability, yeah, it is a little tough because you have to start from the beginning there. And I've already gotten a perfect game, so I don't have anything to go for.
Yeah, you don't have a goal to reach for, the golden.
But it's not that if I were in high school right now, I would be playing this game over and over again. As an adult right now, I would not be replaying this game.
Okay.
It would be move on and try again. So I would love to, I tell you what, I would love to play a sequel to this game. I don't know if they're ever going to make one. I would love that. I would love to play a more in-depth version of this, a more, bells and whistle-y kind of version of this.
Right.
This is a very stripped-down, simple game. I wouldn't be surprised if, at some point this becomes available on the iOS in a simpler menu system.
Well, didn't you tell me earlier in the week that you wish you could play through it again before the review,
for
but
mods.
you don't have time? Oh, is that what it was for?
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't just a general
It wasn't
desire.
just a general. So I'm going to put... Not that I wouldn't replay it again. And I'm thinking of it right now. I'm like, I should play that tonight. But then again, I'm thinking with mods to try it.
Well, you still be playing.
It is a fun enough game. I'm going to go ahead and put replayability, honestly, 7 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Craig?
I would probably give it a 9 because a lot of the game is it kind of opens it up for being a replayable game. You could always try to get a perfect game on your first try, or go through and how you didn't have any experience with doing the stuff with the consoles, or making your own Steam, or any of the other stuff that it opens
I didn't
it
even
up
know
for.
was available. So
So that opens it up too. You can do that earlier. And then at the end of the game, when you're done with the 35 years thing, it kind of collects all of your stuff together and makes a total overall score for how you did throughout that career. And then it kind of puts it up on a leaderboard score. So you would actually be ranked against other people, and so you could always try again to be better. So I think that also adds a lot of replayability.
All right.
Yeah, and there's tons of things you can play with. So I give it 7 out of 10. That's a good score.
And plus, there's mods.
Yeah, but you gotta realize though the replayability is.
But if I were honestly
is subjective.
What I guess I have a 70% chance that at some point in my life I will replay this game.
That's pretty damn good. I've played games for hundreds of hours that have 7.5 out of 10. Pretty much everywhere at the high end. Okay, Outbreak.
Yeah.
Fucking nobody plays. I love it.
I do believe our replayability score is our is a very important thing that a lot of people that don't really go into.
Yeah, I mean, it's what are you getting for your money? Is this worth $10?
It is definitely worth $10. Just for the one playthrough, it is worth $10.
It is definitely worth the $10.
All right, yeah, you played 10 hours for $1 an hour? That's damn cheap entertainment.
Yeah.
Fucking movies. If you buy a drink, it's like $50 an hour if you get popcorn. So
you go.
money. For
I enjoyed this game. I recommend it, Caleb.
I would recommend it also. I would highly recommend that you go and get it on Steam.
$10.
Or
Come on.
like $10 is really cheap. I mean, it is a fantastic simulation game, and it lets you feel like you make the games that you always love playing. So
Nice. Maybe I will have to try it out in, never when I have time. I would love to, though. But awesome. Well, sweet. The total overall official Nude Clan ranking of
You want to go through our scores, though?
Dev Tycoon.
Before I'm sorry to stop you in the middle of your
Yeah, my ultimate speech.
build up.
I could have added it in.
Should go ahead and do it.
All right, so for storyline, Joe gave it a 10. Caleb gave it a 10. Gameplay, both gave 9s. Design, both gave 5s. Music and sound, Joe 7, Caleb 6 because we kept getting on him. Replayability, Joe gave it a 7. He's probably not going to play it again. Caleb gave it a 9 because he already has
chance
played
of
it again. Which means our official Nude Clan ranking of Game Dev Tycoon is 77 out of 100.
Woo! There you go.
I think that makes it the worst game of all time, according to our games played. No, I'm just kidding.
We wanted
guys.
to branch out and make and do something different.
Yeah, we've been stuck on RPGs for
/ Joe had the game. Let's play it.
Yeah, / yeah. Joe has the game. Caleb's already beaten it. Yeah. No, and it is good to do that. I mean, and it does seem like an enjoyable experience. It's just some of our categories are less forgiving to this particular game and maybe even this particular genre. I don't think that goes
indie game.
Yeah, indie game sim.
Small indie game.
You look at SimCity, and most of these would have been different for SimCity. Not on release. SimCity on release is like a 10 out of 1,000, but now it's quite a bit better. So I don't know. That's cool.
I very much enjoyed it, and I would like to see more from these guys. Honestly,
I would too.
Good, because they are making more games.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any iTunes reviews? Okay.
I believe we do.
Do you have them pulled up?
Man.
No, I do not.
All right, pull them up, and then we'll come back. Okay, real quick before we do reviews, we forgot we got news. Caleb, we got news.
Do we actually have news?
I have one piece of news here. Assassin's Creed movie sequel, I guess. Michael Fassbender is on board to be in it.
Okay.
And so they're making an Assassin's Creed movie.
I could see that being good. I can also see it being just like every other video game movie and not good. So fuck it, we'll see.
I think we're reviewing a video game movie in 2 weeks, right?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, we are.
Oh my god, you're right. We have to get a hold of that fucking thing.
Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Bros.
Jesus.
The worst movie ever created.
Dude, we need to create a rubric
for
for movies. It's probably going to be about the same.
Would
Rewatchability.
you ever rewatchability?
Yeah, we could do the same thing.
Okay, you could do story. What the fuck would gameplay be equivalent to?
We could do it at a... I don't fucking know. We're going to have to figure this out sometime.
How about we just give it like a random score?
Okay.
Like that's okay.
We'll each get 20 points.
Yeah,
or
we'll
25 points.
There you go.
And give it out of
How much out of 25?
Out of 25?
You could do it out of 5, Schweiss.
You could, and then just multiply it.
Yeah.
But there's attrition there. I mean, what if you would have given it 2 out of 5, but you would have given it...
So yeah, if you want to watch Super Mario Bros. With us, we'll be reviewing that in 2 weeks. Any other news, guys? Do you guys pull up any news before you come in here?
I did
did
look
not
up
know.
some stuff, but mostly Nintendo has disappointed many people with their newest Nintendo Direct, basically saying stuff will come out, just not for the Wii U.
The stuff will come out next console.
Yeah, the NX may be their best system ever because of all the stuff that they'll eventually have lined up from denying the Wii U.
Next system. How long do you think it'll take for Nintendo to just move on from the Wii U? Because I feel like the Wii U was like is it their worst failure?
Yeah.
You got to look at it though.
As
I
a
mean,
system?
it's only a little bit less than the Xbox One. At least last time I checked,
Yeah,
sales
but the
wise.
Xbox One is considered almost a failure, right?
No, they're still selling better than Xbox 360 did at this time in its life.
Well, yeah, we talked about that.
But then again, you
Right.
got to realize that the fucking economy then was horrid. So I don't know if it's really a failure or not. I mean, I don't know.
in 2006.
I don't think the Wii
economy
U
wasn't
is
that
looked
bad.
at very positively, at the very least. We could say that.
Not by gamers. Maybe families have been buying it, and we just don't know because we're
The
not
Wii U?
of that
Well, Caleb,
ilk.
you're the only one that has one. I mean, how do you feel it's performing?
It's underperforming. There's not a lot of pull to it. The biggest games on it are like Smash Bros, Mario Kart, which are always good and system sellers. But if those are the only two games that are going to be on it, your system is going to fail.
They honestly did not. It did not seem to me, as someone who is alive and well in the United States of America, that they did that much marketing for the Wii U before they put out the game.
They didn't.
And
And then
what's crazy is that the Wii was huge,
the Wii was huge.
but
yeah.
then the next system they kind of failed on. It's
Yeah, and then the whole thing with the controller having like a screen in it that cost them like so much extra money, and then when they finally had to price drop it, they're like hemorrhaging money from that. It's not even funny. Like Nintendo is failing this time around, and so the NX is going to basically be their last hope, I would imagine.
Well, I almost am concerned because they're trying to move away. They want to make the NX like on par with the PS4 and Xbox One.
I don't.
They're kind of
understand
trashing their initial game plan. Their winning formula for the Wii.
Well,
It's a family
their
thing.
winning formula has screwed them over.
Well, their
and it's
winning
played
formula-
out, so.
Well,
They fucked it up with the Wii U though. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, they gave them a controller on the Wii U. They had the fucking Wii thing, the Wii sticks, which was kind of like part of the reason why your grandparents could play
yeah,
bowling
the
on
charm,
the Wii.
Yeah. My grandparents have one. They have a fucking Wii.
Well, you can still play with the
ridiculous.
Wiimotes on the Wii U. And
No,
all
you
that
can,
stuff,
but
and-
it's moved away from that, I feel. And I
Yeah.
think the NX might be
that was
moving away from it even more.
Part of that gimmick with those controllers is part of what sold it. The Wii Sports thing, like you can play video games and also be healthy. Pretty much a lie, but it
think-
worked for them marketing wise.
Yeah, I think they're moving away from that mostly because
And it's like, well, at least the kid's not sitting there. Instead, he's rotating his arms really quickly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something.
And sitting there,
It's
right?
something. It's very little, but something.
It's
yeah.
it was a family, and they fucked up. They done fucked up, and so we'll see. Like the only other they have either go back to that direction, which made them sell twice as much as any other system on the market, or they can go back to their N64 days, which is
Be the top.
make a serious console with serious power for gamers.
Yeah, or semi-serious power, and later the capability of serious power via impossible to find a little fucking hard drive thing, a little RAM chip.
yeah,
But still, it does make the games look good. Donkey Kong, in my mind, is like awesome looking. It's probably not nearly as good, but it did look great for the time. And it's I don't know, they gotta figure out what they want, and
I don't know what
with
Nintendo, as a Nintendo player, because I don't really play that much Nintendo. There's Zelda, Donkey Kong, Mario. As a Nintendo player, what direction do you feel they should go?
it's always hard to say. Like, it doesn't really matter what direction they go with their console, as long as they release the games that the players want to play. I mean, that's one of the biggest problems with the Wii U is that they didn't release like the Legend of Zelda that they promised that they were going to. That's pretty much being moved to the Wii. I mean, to the NX and like all their other like really big franchises that they have. Like they have Star Fox and all those other smaller ones that that Nintendo is famous for, and like only has exclusive to Nintendo, that like is the reason that people love and play Nintendo, is from those older games that they haven't updated or released, and they just
Besides Super Mario Bros.
Besides Super Mario Bros, yeah.
admittedly the
and
second
now-
biggest.
Yeah, and
game
now they
franchise
even
ever.
own like Sonic and stuff like that, and they haven't released a good game for Sonic in years.
How big is Nintendo, the company? Like, how is it like a staff of 100 people? Like,
Nintendo
Can
is
they
fairly
not?
large,
Well,
but they I don't know
What
what's
they
going on with them.
their thing is they just don't do they don't do third party very much. They in-house publish just about every one of their exclusives, which is genius, but you have to keep coming out with the things. You should have a couple Zelda games per generation. You should have a couple big Mario games per generation. I don't know. I know there's a Mario.
That's what they had up until the GameCube, right? And then they faltered with the GameCube. They made up for it with the Wii, and then they faltered again with the Wii U.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a bunch on the 64. I mean, there's like the Mario RPG. There's the Super Mario World 64. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of
Mario RPGs on the
Super NES.
Yeah. Oh, is it Super NES?
Yeah, but there's Paper Mario, which is
that's what I meant. Paper Mario. Sorry. Mm-hmm. And they have those, and Paper Mario and Super Mario or Mario RPG are supposed to be great.
Yeah,
so,
they are.
I mean, Mario kicks ass.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they do Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii U?
They re-released Super Mario Galaxy.
I mean,
and
like
Galaxy
Super Mario
2.
Galaxy 3.
I don't know. They just
seems-
haven't released any of their big games.
They're fucking themselves over by not making these games. You're right.
That's exactly what it is. They have no good games on the Wii U. Their only pull is, like I said, the Smash Bros, the Mario Kart, their new Mario Maker, and then the Xenoblade Chronicles that they just came out with, which is this sequel to the previous one that they had on the Wii that was only available in Japan.
Okay.
So yeah, they don't have as much as they had for other consoles, and so it is really screwing them over.
So either get up on the family thing with the physical controllers, right? Mm-hmm. Or go on with and be a real competitor with PlayStation with Xbox.
Yeah, they'll have to open up third party, and then they'll have to keep pushing their own games, because that's really what sells Nintendo is the Mario franchise, the Star Fox, the Legend of Zelda, all those things. So that what really pulls people to Nintendo.
Okay, well,
I do have a little bit actually. There is a sweet little Star Wars Humble Bundle version 2. I guess we missed this last time.
Nice.
Let's see. Pay $1 or more to unlock Star Wars Rebellion, X-Wing Alliance, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, Balance of Power campaigns. That one looks like a classic. And Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds Saga. These are all kind of older looking. And let's see. If you pay more than the average of $7.97, you also get X-Wing Special Edition, TIE Fighter Special Edition, Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, wow.
And Knights of the Old Republic 2. The Sith Lords, and you get a 75% off up to any 3 Star Wars title in the Humble Bundle store. And also, if you throw down $34.99 or more, you also get a sweet ass shirt. What is that, Caleb? What is that image?
I'm not sure.
Star Warsy thing.
I think it's the Knights of the Old Republic face.
Yeah, it looks like
I don't
Darth
know.
Nihilus.
Is that what his name is?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know. I have not played those. I just know they're.
I've heard they're great.
Yeah, I heard they're amazing RPGs.
Yeah.
So
all right. Now do we have an iTunes review?
Yes.
We finally have that.
Yes, we do. We only have one though.
Okay.
This one is titled "All Good Except."
Oh man!
Dun, dun, dun.
A 5-star review by Morbid Youth.
He did what I said. Give an honest, open review. Just give us 5 stars.
Thank you very much, Morbid. This podcast is pretty good, but it is lacking in small ways. One thing that needs to change is the talking over someone else. It's just unprofessional.
Why does that need to... Sorry.
Also,
Why does that need to...
going off subject is okay when it pertains to the subject of the podcast. I hear more crap about college, classes, someone is taking, someone from high school, etc. But I really enjoy just about everything else. I personally detest Pokemon and everything associated with it. I don't find that series anything important to gaming. I look forward to reviews on real games and gaming subjects such as Gaming Evolution
and Game Dev Tycoon.
and reviews on Mass Effect and so on. I would love to play those. Although I could be wasting my breath and nothing will change. But if these small problems are also on anyone else's mind, then they need to be corrected. All right.
Talking over each other?
That's not going to change. That's part of our show. Now, there are points where the talking overs, a few times where Joe specifically has just kept going and going. And that's where that's where it might be able to change. But us just interrupting each other, Caleb's talking about game dev and I throw an insult at him. That's never going to change.
Yeah,
that's never going to leave the show.
That's just not going to stop.
We can't resist it. If it's just like a fucking waterboarding-esque wrecking of someone else, then yeah, I could see that changing.
Look, there's 4 of us in a room, and it's basically
I'm just kidding.
we act like we do it like a poker table where it just becomes chaos.
Yeah, we're just not drunk like we would be.
Exactly. And so, that Yeah, I think that's part of the energy of the show, though. If we all decided to wait our turn,
It'd be boring.
the show would be boring. So, like, yeah, we try not to talk over each other. Where, like, what happened in the first few episodes, where I would have a conversation here and they would have a conversation there.
Yeah,
like, there'd be pairs of us having conversations.
Yeah.
And there's no way, like, that can work in a room. There's
But
no
not
way
in
that can work over the audio. And so we do try to not do that. But I can't make a guarantee that that'll never happen, that we will never talk over each other again. Because
Right.
that's impossible.
And as far as the college crap and stuff like that, I do think we're going to try to just push that to the end of the episode every other week when we have our Getting Fat segment where we just talk about what we're doing in life. And I do think we should try to limit all of that to that, unless, of course, like today, you tell us, oh, I haven't been playing games because I've been busy with school. I have too. I fucking know exactly what you're talking about. New class, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 2 nights a week, not enough time to game. That's pertinent. But going off is whatever. Now with Pokemon, that's a little harsh.
Yeah,
but I do
fuck
agree.
you. It is a legitimate game, and you can just accept that.
No, but it hasn't really brought that much.
It's the second biggest fucking
It doesn't
video
matter.
game based franchise.
What is it? What has it brought? It's stolen Final Fantasy's battle system.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, it has.
No, it hasn't.
It didn't design anything brand new.
Final Fantasy stole that battle system from Dragon Quest.
It's very true.
Yeah.
But they're the same company now, so it's okay. Admittedly, I think Pokemon is a blast.
Wow.
I love the games, but I can recognize that they haven't really pushed the envelope as far as that goes. But we're gonna
His
talk
opinion
about
on
it
games
anyway.
aside, look, we all just decide what games we want to play, and we've all decided that we're not going to replay games we played before unless we have partnered up with someone who has not played that game.
Right, and even then, it's going to be like they've got to really either need to play the game or they really want to play the game.
And so basically, we'll play whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, and as far as stuff like Mass Effect,
I'm not
you
going
know,
to play
I like-
Final Fantasy on this show.
No,
Yeah.
well, no, we are actually the 7 remake.
The 7 remake, yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah.
not-
It's a
I'm
little
not gonna do a review for Final Fantasy for the after years on this show.
right. Yeah, no.
So
But yeah, as far as stuff like Mass Effect, we'll play it if we want to play it. I mean, like, I'm sure like one of us will like eventually.
Well, and we've
I would like
toyed-
to play Mass Effect.
And we've
someday.
toyed with the idea of letting you guys vote for it, and I think that is something we're going to move towards eventually. I just don't know when. We need to come up. We need to sit down and like get those lists together, what we could play, throw out those options.
Yeah, and we'd also like to enjoy like a variety of games. We don't want to just be playing like the same like genre
Yeah,
over
and the trouble
over
with
again.
having it open to vote is we're still a small show coming over from Ultimate Final Fantasy, an RPG podcast. So a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, play these RPGs. How about this
Please
RPG?"
God, play this 60-hour RPG.
And you know,
No.
we love it. We love them to death, but we have to live,
So, yeah,
man.
played a simulation game this time.
Yeah, well,
an
fuck it.
indie simulation game.
Why not? It's totally out of left field. And
Yeah.
sounds like you guys enjoyed it.
I
so
want a good variety on this show, and we put out game reviews enough that, like, you know,
we could do it, yeah.
Yeah.
We could do it easy.
Yeah. If you want to tell us what games you want us to play, send us an email. Get out our plugs, will you? You can go to nudeclan.net, which will take you over to ultimatefinalfantasy.com.
Right, you can
When are you
find us
gonna
on
get that fixed.
It's not broken. It's just a
not
redirect.
broken.
You can go facebook.com/nudeclan podcast. That's nude, NEWD, because Facebook sucks. You can tweet me at UFF podcast.
You tweet me at Joseph DeGolyer, DEGOLYER.
And me at Obsidian Bob
And-
AH.
Cameron, if you want. He's not here today, so it's at Nude Clan Cam.
Lol.
And you can find us occasionally streaming. I mean, we're still kind of negligent on that front, but it's at twitch.tv/NudeClanGaming. And for any other things that you want to do, if you don't want to put it up on our forums, or for whatever reason, I don't know why you wouldn't, you can send us an email at nudeclanpodcast@gmail.com.
We have made it. I would like to say we have made it a goal now because we have a certain rotation for this show, and on one rotation, it's all four of us watching a video game based movie.
Yeah.
Our goal with this show, and that'll happen like once every 4 months or something like that.
Yeah, it's not often.
based on our rotation timetable. Our goal is to eventually watch every single live action
Video game movie.
video game movie.
There's a bunch, too. There's like 6 Resident Evil movies alone.
Eventually, and I think we should do them in order of release. So like way down the line, we'll get to the Warcraft movie, which looks like a piece of shit based on its trailer. It looks like the people who made the game cutscenes directed the movie, which is always a bad idea.
Oh yeah, we know that.
God, dude, that's gonna be interesting. I wonder just how bad that's gonna be when it comes out.
I don't know. I'm not even gonna go near that thing. There's no way.
And
We're gonna eventually.
Well, yeah, eventually, yes, we'll go near it.
And Hollywood's gonna keep trying to fucking make a video game movie that sells, but so far they've had one success? Tomb Raider?
Yeah, I think so.
I think the Resident Evil movies make money. They wouldn't have so many if they didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they're okay. Nah, not really. I don't know. Whatever. We'll get to it.
I've never seen
Those are more of a live action thing anyway, though. So that's where it doesn't make quite the disconnect like the Mario Bros that we're gonna watch. That's a live action rendition of
I've never seen this Mario Bros.
of an
you,
animated. I've seen some of it.
Oh my god, I've seen it probably twice, and it is the worst piece of shit ever.
I am looking forward to this.
How could you ever hate a movie?
You know exactly how I can do that.
Well, please leave us a review on iTunes, guys. It really does help the show. Let us know what you think. Give honest feedback, but blow us at the same time. You want to stay up there?
Yeah, hand job under the table where you're like,
Yeah,
telling
as
us
you're
to
scolding us,
yeah.
give us a rub down.
Yeah, please ask us. I think the most important thing, please ask us questions.
Yeah, on the forum. We got a whole
On the
forum
Facebook,
section set
whatever
up.
the fuck. Ask us questions that we can talk. Give us things to talk about on the show. Through those. So
Keep yourselves part of the conversation.
I think that's it. Me and Caleb have to review Final Fantasy IV: The After Years on Ultimate Final Fantasy. So
Yes, we do.
let's get to that. We will see you guys next week.
All right, enjoy the nude.
Live always in the nude.
Fuck off.
May the list go on.
Yeah!